Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of this CCW software demo. First, let me disconnect to the simulator. We want to continue on more different instructions. So I want to try the timer instructions. Alright, so it doesn't show up here. So I just need to click that to see more categories. Eventually you will see timer counter. Yeah, that's here. Timer counter category. We add a new run on here, and let's try timer first. Same as the Studio 5000, we learned TON, TOF, right? Let me try timer on first here, and let me create a trigger first. I have to go back, not very convenient. We'll go back to bit logic and trigger, then we can drag to here. Let me see. Well, do we need to? Yeah, just use a input. Let's just use one of the input from the simulator. Second one on the input, and you can see that similar to the move instruction, right? It's a box, but this is a TON instruction. The tag associated with it is TON_1. I guess maybe you can change it. I'm not sure. Maybe you couldn't change it. They have to use the fixed name or format similar to RS Logic 500. Let's look at here. Input, that's the trigger, right? PT, ET, Q, that's fairly new to us, right? So in order to find out that, you can use the tooltip, right? So they give you some information, but you can also highlight and press F1 to get the help file. So in is the input, PET is the maximum programmed time defined using time data type, right? You can see here there's a new data type called time, not timer, time. Like I said, this software, the format is very similar to Siemens PLC. If you have a chance to learn Siemens PLC later on, you will see similar to this style. Right? Q is the output, right? Q represent output, and exactly the same we learned from the Studio 5000. In the moment, you'll see that in the program. Q, it's like the done bed, right? On there. Then ET. ET is the current elapsed time, like how long it has been turned on for the timer, right? So you can see similar to that timing diagram I already showed you on the lecture, and there are some examples. Right? There's one more thing I want you to talk about. I want you to know is that this is new to us. Time data type. You can see here there's a time data type link. We can click on that. That's exactly same as the Siemens format. So a timer value sign up like this. You can see the format like that. Right? You can also see the examples here. It start very common format is start with a T and followed by a number sign, and then after the number sign you specify how long is the time value. So H used for hour, and MS is millisecond. You can see here you can set you can even set up the date, hour, minute, second, millisecond. Right? You just need to use different letter to represent on the time period. Right? So that is a little bit new to us. Let's see on here. For example, PT is the program time, right? So if we want to set up let's just say 5 seconds. So we have to use T at the beginning, and followed by the number sign, and 5 and S. S represents second. I don't think the letter is case sensitive. Let's press enter. Try that. Yeah, it takes that. Right. So 5 seconds is there, and then Q is the output. Right. Like I said, it's equivalent to the dumb bit. Right. So if you want to have the output, you can even have the output on here, and let's do that way. Right. So let's do that way. So if you connect something after the Q, for example, you use on here, and I'll just use the output. Right. So I think that's what output I used last time. Let me see on here. I already used the 0, 1. Right. I'm gonna use the 0, 0 and 0, 0, 0, 2. So for this, I'm gonna use 0, 0. Let's see here. Output 0, 0. And I can use here to represent the exam of no, that's not what I want to do. So how do we choose the timer Q? Right, let's try it out from here. TON underscore 1, and mismatch, you can see here. And I don't know, how do they represent dot? Maybe, yeah, you can see here dot Q. Right. So try that, and output we'll just drag to here. Then we will choose the IO. 0, 1 is already used, so I'll just use this here. Alright, so let's download and see what's going on. It's running. Alright, download. So TON, remember that we talked about on delay, can provide two different type of the timed output: normally open, time close; normally close, time open. Right? So basically, I program my logic according to these two output. So the 0, 0 will have the normally open, time close. 0, 2 will have the yeah, exactly, you see here. 0, 2 will have the normally closed, time open. So as we can see here, when program start to run, timer is not timing, right? It's normally open, this one is off, but this one is on, because we use the output Q to represent that. The elapsed time is 0 second. We set up at 5 second, right? So over here, that is from the second input, the 0, 2 input. I'm gonna turn this input on. Let's see what happened. So 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4, 5 seconds, then flip. Right. So normally open become close, normally close become open. So if the trigger off, then it goes back to the normal situation. Right. So normally open is off, normally close is on. So this is the timer we can program with the CCW. Let's try more with counters. I believe counter they'll be more different from what we learned. Let's just see over here. So let me just try if I can copy paste. Maybe Control C, Control V. Yeah. So I can use the existing tag on here to trigger counters. And counter, that's here. So we have count up, count down, right? So if we have on here, and let's have a look for this counter instruction. Similar to before, we can press F1 to look at on that, and count up, reset. So whenever reset is which is a boolean, will against the counter value upwards to 0. Yes, to set the. So let's look at this way. All right, there are two variables: program variable, current variable, value, or you can call value, right? So program value and current value. So that be the preset PV, and CV will be the accumulate. If we use the Studio 5000 term, right? The output is the Q, so that will be the done bit. The reset is just another input. They program with this instruction. So whenever this one become true, you can see here, set the current value to 0. So that means even though you keep going with that, you can also use this to reset the value to 0. And let me see here. The most important thing, I want to find out the data type. You can see here with PV, you can set up as a double integer. CV also as a double integer. So that's what we need to know. So how do we set up on that? PV, you can set up double integer, for example 5. Right? And Q is the output. We can create a output. So let's just see, Control C, Control V, Control V. Yeah, so we have to change the output, otherwise we'll have double coil syndrome, right? I want to create a new one, right? So we'll just create a new one, for example PL1. Okay. Same there to this. I can also use the same trigger to trigger another counter. So on here, I can use the counter down instruction, because this counter down is a little bit different. I'm going to show you on that. All right. Also, I think we could, if we want, we could use the same counter variable CTU_1, CTD_1. I'm not sure if that's the same tag or not. Let me just for save. I can create another one if I want. Right? So for this way, same as before, 5, and output I can use this, Control C, Control V. See. Okay, I'll just go back to use the bit logic. Let's do this way. I want to have two different output. Control C. I think now I can Control V. Control V. Yeah. So this one I'll just use a PL2 to represent. Okay, I think that's good. Let's try to see what we have now. Notice here there are some input for the counter instruction. I didn't set it up, so you don't have to. They are optional variables. All right. I will set up without those input first, and then I'll show you what's the options with that. So let's look at here. Okay. All right. Let's see count up. All right. So the current value is 0. We want to set up at the preset as 5, and the output you can see here is off. Right. So if we give the trigger Control T, and notice here the current value increase from 0 to 1, and then turn off the trigger second time, increase to 2. If we keep doing this until we reach the current value to 5 over here, less output should turn on. Then if we Control T, turn off, Control T again, yeah, so value 5, and turn on the output. Right. PL2. So you may see why it's already on. Right. So you can see here. Let's look at the F1 to see any more information. Count. Let's look at the output. So the Q here. Q indicates whenever the countdown instruction has resulted in a number less than or equals to the max value of the counter. You can see here. So it's true because the result is less or equals to 0. So let's look at our program here. Right, current value is 0, is equal to 0, so that's why it's true. So how does it work? It's that there's another input. We didn't set it up. It's okay to set it up grammar-wise. Its syntax is good, but to function that, and let's look at here for load. You can see the load input. When it's true, set the current value to the preset value. Right. So that means if we want to make this counter to run, I'm not sure if I can do it on the. Oh yeah, I mean maybe I can do that. So if, for example, I can choose the stop, another button. Okay. Probably it doesn't allow the online edit. Doesn't allow me to choose it. Let me just get offline to do it. So over here, I'll just use a. Why don't I just create a brand new one? Right. So I'll just call that load PB. Alright, then download again. Okay, let's see how does it work. Basically, we create a trigger to set the current value as the preset. So over here, yeah, the trigger is false, it's 0. So if I highlight here, Control T, true. Notice here, the current value being set to the same value as the preset value 5. So now if we have to remember toggle back, we already have the 5 on the current value. So now if we trigger that, every time we trigger it, this current value reduce 1. Right, so keep doing that. Once we get 0, the output will turn on. Yeah, so you can see that turn on there. So this will with the same function as this. So with the count up, you have a reset, right? So if you have a reset button here, whenever this one become true, that will clear the current value back to 0. Right? So basically, that's a very brief demo for the CCW. Right? If you're interested, you can really practice what we have learned for this course with this software at home. Right? So, okay, have fun.